Welcome ESO community, coming back with another Werewolf PvP build for the Dragonknight, the Bisclavret build. Just a Werewolf poem. It's kind of what the build's based off of. It's kind of like a French werewolf or whatever. Yeah, besides the point. Well, anyway, we are going to. I'm going to show you the sets, everything that I run on this, what options you could try, but just keep it very simple. It does a lot of damage. It kind of synergizes well with the Dragonknight, and overall just a beast. You go into battlegrounds, you probably can easily pull off over 1 mil damage easily every VG match. If you're good enough, you can get up to 2 mil, 3 mil, and like I had before, a 5.6 mil. On a Dragonknight, maybe not, might not be possible, but it'd be close. I'm not too far behind. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into what I'm wearing and what I recommend to run on a Dragonknight Werewolf, because it doesn't have as many passes as the other classes, but it can still be viable if you know what you're doing. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to go over is what food and potions I recommend. Bewitch Sugar Skulls is a really good option. Due to the fact that you do lose half of your health recovery when you go into PvP might be an issue, but it doesn't really matter. Health recovery is really not that viable unless you have sets that can get you high health recovery, but honestly at that point I wouldn't even recommend it. Another option you can run is just basic tri-stat food like long thin pasty with melon sauce. There's also some beef one as well, but they basically all do the same buff. I have smoked bear haunch. I don't really recommend this because it lowers your max mag and max stam, but if you want to just go for more of a sustain but lose out on your max stuff, it might affect you, but if you think you can handle it, go for it. Pack Leader's Bone Broth is another decent food, but the issue is that you don't have any magicka from this, so if you decide to run this, I would definitely swap out the Mundus Stone, probably made for mag recovery Mundus, maybe a glyph, so you can get some type of increase on mag recovery. Okay, so for potions, you want to run tri-stats, detect pots, and immovables. Immovables will be pretty good. You don't want to be CC'd all the time. The more you get CC'd, the less you can put out on people. So you want to be able to be on an unstoppable force. There's also potions you can run that give you resistance. So Werewolf, since it's going to be an Oakensoul based Dragonknight, you will be losing a little bit of resistances. You can also replace it just with basic Mundus Stones or racial passes, but I don't know. I would just stick to the potions instead, since you won't be losing out on your damage that you might need. Okay, so that's it for the potions and food. So we're going to go ahead and over what's your first set. So the first set's going to be Plague Break. Now hear me out. A lot of people know this set's already OP. A lot of people already use it. So if you go in there and you're the only guy on your team using Plague Break, which is not always the case, but if you are, this set will be perfect for a dot-based werewolf, like a Dragonknight or a Necro type werewolf build. But anyway, so the first enchantment I'm running is a Poison Glyph, and then the second one's going to be a Flame Glyph. I got 1 Nern and 1 Charge. The weapon styles, or weapon types, I would say, do not matter in werewolf form. They matter in human form, but not wolf. So we'll skip that because I get a lot of comments about that all the time. Does this carry over? No, it doesn't. You lose majority of your passives just to gain some unique werewolf buffs. You get a Charge because it will constantly proc that enchant, and it will also see the reason I'm running Poison and Flame, because Dragonknight has a passive where they'll get mag and stand back. However, it was nerfed a bit, but it can still be viable. But if you don't want to run those, you can just opt out for some basic poisons, which can still proc the part of the passive. You got damage magic poisons, and then you got health. Damage health, and you got escapist. Escapist poisons are pretty unique because you won't get CC You'll be immune to crowd control effects for 3.9 seconds, and this poison will also break you free of ongoing crowd control effects, which I find to be really nice. And it also immobilizes your target and grants you unstoppable, which is really unique. I got damage magic poisons. Applies minor cowardice to your target and reduces their damage, and then it drains health, dealing 15 poison damage to your target and restoring some health back to you. And then you got basic double dots, which is just 2 poison ticks. So, and then you got normal crown ones, but whatever ones you can get a hold of, or any poisons that you like, it'd be work. So definitely on a berserker, you want to stack as much dots as you possibly can. Alright, so this is a 1-bar build, so you won't have a back bar. Alright, so your secondary set is going to be Wretched. The reason I recommend Wretched is because it's really easy to get those sustained buffs up. All you got to do is Infectious Claw or do the Fracture Werewolf Fear. However, Off Balanced is bug right now for that particular morph, so you could run the other one, but you will lose out on some pen. At least you'll gain heavy attack speed, I guess, and Off Balance, but it's up to you. I recommend to actually, run all divines, but I don't care about changing the traits. But I recommend y'all should. And also run tri-stat on everything. I just don't have a tri-stat on my medium glove or whatever, or bracer. But I recommend that y'all put tri-stats on everything. Do 1 light for the sash and 1 medium for the bracers, so you get your undaunted passives. Now for the jewelry, you want to do infused. You can run bloodthirsty, but you want to increase your plague break buff. So infused will be better there. And then here is the bread and butter of the build. What makes everything just click right. So this is the Oakensoul ring. It pretty much, so you get a lot of these buffs already in werewolf form. You get major brutality, you get major savagery, but all that, and then you get major resolve. But you got all these extra buffs, which will increase your sustain, increase your ultimate regeneration, and then also you got major courage and major berserk, and then you got major force, which all 3 will increase your damage. So that's where you're going to get your DPS from. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the sets and everything else for that, just the build itself. And then we're going to go over the Mundus Stones and where you should put your attributes. Okay, so always put your attributes. You can do 64 stam. You can put some into mag. You can pretty much do it any way you want. I have 64k into stam right now because I want to put out as much damage as I possibly can with the sets I have. You could do 64 health for more healing, but you will lose out on some damage from your base attacks, but your proc damage will still be the same. And same thing here. You could probably do 32 health, 32 stam. It's up to you guys. Whatever y'all think y'all need. Mundus Stones, what I recommend is the Lover, the Warrior, the Shadow, the Thief. Any of these, the Lady for increase, and you can run the Lord Mundus for more health. You can run the Mag recovery. So any Mundus Stone you want, just for your particular taste. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over the skills. This is a little bit more tricky. You probably don't even need to run this because you already get that buff. But if you want, I don't know. I just have it on there anyway. So, but you can easily place that out for some type of damage ability. I don't know. I just got whatever I have. I just hopped on this tune, so I don't really know what I want to run. But they all seem to work pretty well if you know what you're doing. Venomous Claw, you could probably put Noxious Breath. I always run this because this will increase my healing. And then I got Vigor. Yeah, but it's not a whole lot. So what you could do with this build is fully buff up yourself. So you'll have this this blood thing up, giving you major fortitude for your health recovery by 30%. And then you got Fragmented Shield, which will give you, I think it should give you, does it give you minor brutality? Or it used to? Or is it based upon one of your passives? I think it's based upon one of your passives here. But then you got Venomous Claw. This will do a lot of damage stacked on top of Plague Break. So if you run that with Noxious Breath or some type of stun, you could probably do some damage. But don't expect to finish people, because you have to go into werewolf form to really do that. This is just going to be like you can debuff them before you go into wolf. Alright, so one of the reasons why I wanted to make a Dragonknight wolf for you guys is because, you know, a lot of people have been asking for it, and it's kind of about time for that anyway. So one of the main passives that really carry over into werewolf form from Dragonknight is Iron Skin, which will increase the amount of damage you block. And then you got Scaled Armor, which increases your physical and spell resistance. And then you got Battle Roar, which when you're, let's say you're low on resources, but you got your ult, you could transform and it would give all your resources back. So it's like a free, just a free reset. Okay, so now we also got the Combustion passive, which is what I was talking about, was increases the damage of your burning and poison status effect by 50%. So, and you can easily run a dot wolf. So when you apply burning to an enemy, you restore 1,000 magicka, and when you apply poison to an enemy, you restore 1,000 stam. These effects can occur once every 3 seconds, individually of each other. So you can't just keep stacking them and they keep constantly proccing. It doesn't work that way. And that's pretty much it. I know. So it says increase the damage of flame and poison attacks by 5%. I do not know if this carries over into werewolf form or not. I probably need to look into this. Increase the damage of your flame and poison attacks. So I guess maybe if you have poison sets on, maybe it might. I'm not sure. It doesn't say anything about slotting, so I'm pretty sure it does. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that. You need all your passives. You definitely need to have all these passives. I still don't have my last piece there, but I will. So for the race that I recommend is Imperial, but since they don't really have much of a cost reduction, but you can run an Orc, Dark Elf, Nord, anything you want really. It doesn't matter. It's not going to make a whole lot of a difference, but it probably can be noticeable in the long run. Or you guys will get what I'm saying. So it's pretty simple, pretty straight, explanatory there. Now for the werewolf skills is something that we need to go over. So let's go ahead and do that right now. This is what I'm talking about buffing up as well. So you buff up. So the werewolf skills are kind of straightforward. Brutal Pounce, which will increase your damage. Man, that bleed is insane. 7,326 bleed damage for 10 seconds. Yeah, so you will leap on somebody and you just proc that. And then you got Hercine's Fortitude, which will increase your heal. And then you got Deafening Roar, which will put them off balance. Since it's bug, it's not going to work. But you'll put a Fracture, so you'll lower their resistances. And Howl of Agony is your main spammable attack. And then you got Claws of Anguish that puts Defile and puts a disease effect on them and disease damage. If you run Claws of Life for more healing, but I rather run Defile. And then we got the Berserker Morph, which will increase your overall bleed damage over time, which is a lot, especially with Plague Break stacked. For champion points, there's a few different things you can do here. I was looking at, you can use Force of Nature, which is another good CP, which the more status effects you have on somebody, the more pen you get, and there's no cooldown on it. I don't think there's a limit to how much pen you can get with it. It just depends how many things you can stack on people. Let me see where it's at. I think it's here. Yeah, it's right here. So increase your offensive penetration by 900 for every status effect your target has. That is a lot of damage. So I would probably recommend to run this over, let's say, Fighting Finesse. This is just going to give you 8% crit damage. And you can run that with Thaumaturge and Force of Nature. So that's definitely going to increase your damage. You also can run Physical Weapon Expert, which will increase your light and heavy attacks in Werewolf, but since the majority of your attacks will be that as well. So there's many different things you could run in the blue tree for offensive. Now for defensive, see, I'm not really stacking much into defensive right now because a lot of this stuff doesn't really matter because how squishy people are. If you hit like a truck, man, that's all you need to do, just keep tacking them until they're dead. For the red CP is very simple. Pain's Refuge, reduce damage taken by 2% for every 2 negative effects, up to a maximum of 20. Same by Suffering, which increases your recovery. Peace of Mind, so when you're crowd control, you also get recovery. And then you got Boundless Vitality, which will increase your max health. which will also increase your healing. For green, it's just Steed's Blessing, Gifted Rider, Liquid Efficiency, just straight, and then the food buff one. Just straight common sense, whatever you want to run there. So that's pretty much it on the CP. Let's go ahead and let me show y'all what I mean by how to proc this stuff, because a lot of people don't know how to proc this right. Alright, let's go and go get our ult. Let's go to the ultimate thing or whatever. Alright. Also, I don't have the Psijic on this guy, but I recommend you guys can run Psijic abilities if you want. It's up to y'all, because I hate being snared. That's why I run Race Against Time, which is another really good one. So let's go ahead and buff up. I'm like over buffing for some reason, but still. Alright, let's buff up. So very simple. You apply your claws or this. Either one, does not matter. Let's see what the total max damage will look like. So it is 7.4 weapon damage, and the bleed you're constantly ticking, and it's a lot. So if you run in battlegrounds and you hit somebody with this or in Citadel, they will go down eventually. So, but that's pretty much it for the build, guys. The character sheet is just kind of basic. There's nothing much to it there. You can mix things up, change things around, whatever you feel that you need in the build. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for the Dragonknight Wolf. So I'll catch y'all another werewolf build video coming soon. So peace.